Welcome, Shadowborn, into the night with Noctophage, where shadows tell their stories. All right, let us begin. The age of the Pthumerians and the Great Ones. Long before Yharnam's rise, the Pthumerians, an ancient, enigmatic race, flourished deep beneath the earth in sprawling labyrinths. The Pthumerians were skilled in rituals and communed with cosmic entities known as the Great Ones. Eldritch, otherworldly beings from the cosmos or a higher dimension, whose existence defied human understanding. Among the Pthumerians was Queen Yharnam, who entered into a pact with the Great Ones to bear a child. Murgo, an infant Great One. This birth was catastrophic. Queen Yharnam died in the process, but her consciousness lingered, forever tied to the world and the labyrinths. The Pthumerians' interactions with the Great Ones left their civilization cursed and fractured. The Great Ones, for all their power, suffered a tragic flaw. They were perpetually bereaved, always losing their own children. This longing for surrogates and offspring would echo throughout the ages, shaping the destinies of mortals who dared to seek their power. The fall of Loran and the Scourge of Beasts. Another ancient civilization, Loran, rose and fell, destroyed by the Scourge of the Beast, a plague-like affliction that transformed humans into monstrous beasts. The exact origins of the Scourge are lost, but it is likely tied to the meddling with Great Ones and their blood. The fate of Loran served as a grim warning, but its lessons would go unheeded by those who followed. Byrgenwerth and the discovery of the Old Blood. Centuries later, the scholars of Byrgenwerth College, led by Master Willem, discovered the ancient Pthumerian labyrinths beneath the land that would become Yharnam. Within these depths, they found evidence of the Great Ones and, most fatefully, the Old Blood, a miraculous, potent substance capable of healing wounds and granting superhuman abilities. The Old Blood was more than a medical marvel. It was a conduit to the eldritch truth, the knowledge and power of the Great Ones. Willem and his students, Lawrence, Gehrman, Michaelash, and others, became obsessed with the possibilities. Willem, however, cautioned restraint, believing that true ascension required eyes on the inside, insight and understanding, not mere use of blood. He warned, fear the Old Blood. Lawrence, impatient and ambitious, disagreed, believing the Old Blood was the key to humanity's evolution. The tragedy of the Fishing Hamlet and the Hunter's Curse. In their quest for knowledge, Byrgenwerth's scholars committed a terrible sin. The corpse of the Great One Kos washed ashore at a remote fishing hamlet. The scholars, including Gehrman and his apprentice Lady Maria, descended upon the village, slaughtering its inhabitants and stealing the umbilical cord of Kos's orphan child. This act of sacrilege cursed the hunters, dooming them to endless bloodshed and trapping them in the hunter's nightmare, a hellish realm of eternal hunting and regret. The Byrgenwerth schism and the birth of the healing church. The discovery of the Old Blood split Byrgenwerth's scholars. Lawrence broke away, founding the healing church in Yharnam and spreading the use of blood ministration as a miracle cure. The church grew rapidly, becoming the city's dominant religious and political force. Lawrence's reliance on the Old Blood, however, sowed the seeds for the city's doom. Master Willem remained at Byrgenwerth, seeking ascension through insight and the study of runes, while Gehrman, the first hunter, established the Hunter's Workshop to combat the beast that began to appear as a side effect of blood ministration. The church's hunters, led by Gehrman, became the city's defenders against the growing scourge. The Vilebloods of Cainhurst and the Executioners. During this era, a scholar fled Byrgenwerth with forbidden blood to Castle Cainhurst, home of a decadent noble lineage. There, Queen Annalise became the immortal Vileblood Queen, seeking to birth a child of blood, possibly her own Great One, by consuming blood dregs from her followers. The healing church, viewing the Vilebloods as abominations, dispatched Martyr Logarius and his executioners to eradicate them. Logarius sealed Annalise in her throne room, sacrificing himself to prevent her release. The healing church's factions, the choir, and Mensis. As the church grew, it splintered into factions, each pursuing its own path to ascension. The choir. Based in the Upper Cathedral Ward, the choir discovered and worshipped Ebrietas, daughter of the cosmos, a great one left behind in the labyrinths. They experimented on humans to create kin and artificial great ones, such as the celestial emissary. The School of Mensis. Led by Michael Ash, Mensis sought direct communion with the Great Ones through arcane rituals. They operated from Yharnam, the unseen village, conducting horrific experiments in pursuit of transcendence. Their ultimate goal was to make contact with Murgo, the infant Great One, and ascend beyond human limits. The Scourge of the Beasts and the burning of Old Yarnham. The widespread use of Old Blood led to disaster. Ashen blood, a mysterious plague, swept through Old Yarnham. The healing church attempted to cure the sickness with more blood ministration, but this only accelerated the spread of the scourge. As the city's inhabitants transformed into beasts, the church ordered the district burned and sealed off, abandoning the survivors to their fate. Jura, a former hunter, remained to protect the beasts, seeing them as victims rather than monsters. The Mensis ritual and the Red Moon. In secret, the School of Mensis prepared a grand ritual to commune with Murgo. To shield their actions, Rom, the vacuous spider, once a student of Byrgenwerth, transformed by Kos into a kin, acted as a veil, hiding the true nature of reality from the world. When the ritual began, the red moon rose, signaling the boundary between the waking world and the nightmare was thinning. The ritual's power triggered a surge in beast transformations and the appearance of eldritch horrors throughout Yharnam. The hunter's dream and the moon presence. Amidst the chaos, the moon presence, an enigmatic great one, created the hunter's dream, a metaphysical realm where hunters could recover and prepare for the hunt. Gehrman became the caretaker of the dream, bound as its surrogate child, eternally guiding new hunters. The moon presence's motives are inscrutable, but it seems to desire the containment or destruction of the scourge and the perpetuation of the hunt. The modern era, the good hunter's arrival. As the scourge ravaged Yharnam, outsiders continued to arrive, seeking the healing church's blood. Among them was the good hunter, the player character, who came seeking pale blood, a mysterious substance or state tied to transcendence and escape from the nightmare. Upon arrival, the hunter was treated with blood by a mysterious blood minister and drawn into the hunter's dream, making a pact to become a hunter and in the night's horrors. The night of the hunt, the game's events. The good hunter's journey unfolds over a single, endless night, looping between the waking world and the dream. Guided by Gehrman and the doll, the hunter battles beasts, madmen, and cosmic abominations, gradually uncovering the truth behind Yharnam's curse. These were the key events. First, hunting beasts. The hunter cleanses Yharnam's streets of beasts, encountering survivors, fellow hunters, and the remnants of the healing church's experiments. Next, Byrgenwerth and Rom. The hunter travels to Byrgenwerth, defeats Rom, and shatters the veil hiding the Mensis ritual. The red moon rises, revealing the true horror of the world. Moving on to Yharnam and the School of Mensis. The hunter invades Yharnam, confronts the School of Mensis, and ultimately defeats Michaelash and Murgo's wet nurse, ending Murgo's cry and disrupting the ritual. Finally, the hunter's nightmare, the old hunter's DLC. The hunter is drawn into the nightmare, reliving the sins of the past, most notably the massacre at the Fishing Hamlet, and facing the orphan of Kos. By confronting these horrors, the hunter lifts the curse on the old hunters and gains deeper insight into the origins of the hunt. The endings, the fate of the hunter. The hunter's actions culminate in one of several possible endings, each reflecting the choices and insight gained throughout the night. First ending, Gehrman's release, Yharnam's sunrise. If the hunter accepts Gehrman's offer to be released from the dream, they awaken in Yharnam at sunrise, freed from the hunt. The Scourge's future is uncertain, but the cycle of bloodshed is, for now, ended. Second ending. The hunter becomes the new caretaker, honoring wishes. If the hunter refuses Gehrman's offer, the moon presence appears, subdues the hunter, and binds them as the new caretaker of the dream, replacing Gehrman and perpetuating the cycle of the hunt. Third, ending. Ascension, childhood's beginning. If the hunter consumes 3/3 umbilical cords, remnants of Great One's births, they gain enough insight to resist the moon presence. Defeating it, the hunter is transformed into an infant Great One, cared for by the doll. This represents true transcendence, breaking the cycle and ascending beyond humanity. The aftermath and legacy. The ultimate fate of Yharnam, the healing church, and the scourge is left ambiguous. The moon presence may be the source of the scourge, and its defeat could end the plague, or it may simply perpetuate through other means. The city's obsession with blood, the legacy of the Great Ones, and the curse of the hunters linger, echoing the tragic cycles of longing and loss that define the world of Bloodborne. Thematic analysis and deeper lore. Bloodborne's lore is a tapestry woven from themes of ambition, forbidden knowledge, cosmic horror, and the tragedy of longing. The Great Ones, despite their power, are defined by loss and the search for surrogate children. Humans, in their ambition, repeat the same mistakes, seeking ascension, only to be destroyed or transformed by the very forces they covet. The cycles of the hunt, the curse of the hunters, and the endless night reflect the futility of escaping fate. Each faction, Byrgenwerth, the Healing Church, the Choir, Mensis, the Vilebloods, pursues its own vision of transcendence, only to be undone by hubris and the incomprehensible nature of the cosmos. The hunter's dream and the multiple endings reinforce the game's central questions. Can humanity transcend its limits? Is true understanding possible, or is it madness? Is escape from the nightmare a blessing or a curse? Conclusion. The lore of Bloodborne, in its full chronological sweep, is a story of ancient pacts, cosmic horror, and the tragic cycles of ambition and loss. From the Pthumerians' first contact with the Great Ones, through the rise and fall of Yharnam, to the endless night of the hunt and the hunter's own journey, Bloodborne weaves a narrative that is at once precise, haunting, and deeply mysterious. Its world is one where every answer leads to new questions, and where the line between salvation and damnation is as thin as a drop of blood. Thanks for staying in the shadows with Noctophage. Remember, the night is never truly silent. If you enjoyed, please like, comment, and subscribe for more.